Welcome to TPM Vid's Disney Beat, where we talk about all things Disney. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. We also have Instagram and Twitter. You can find us at TPM Videos. As much as Disney theme parks are all about the rides and attractions, another major part of the Disney experience are the characters. From meet and greets to stage shows, parades, and special appearances, all your favorite characters from classic Disney films and TV shows can be seen at the parks. Now, throughout Disney's theme park history, especially in the 90s at Walt Disney World, there's been some weird and interesting characters that have appeared. For the most part, they're now all extinct, but these characters will probably leave you scratching your head wondering why. They're weird for a variety of reasons, like characters that aren't even owned by Disney, strange character costume designs, or the sudden disappearance of an extremely popular character. So today, while looking through some Disney theme park history, we're going to be counting down the top 5 weird and extinct characters from the Disney theme parks. Number 5. The Dick Tracy Crew. If you visited Disney MGM Studios or Disneyland in the early 90s, you may have encountered these guys. And yes, they actually appeared in the parks. Dick Tracy was a comic strip character from the 1930s that was turned into a film by Touchstone Pictures in 1990. If you aren't familiar with Touchstone Pictures, it's a label under the Walt Disney Studio umbrella. They produce the films that usually aren't directly on brand with the Disney name. So when it comes to Touchstone characters, Disney decides if they want them to become quote-unquote Disney characters. So in 1990, a 28-minute musical called Dick Tracy starring in Diamond Double Cross opened at Videopolis in Disneyland and at the original Theater of the Stars at MGM Studios. Now, the film used prosthetics to make the actors appear more cartoon-like, but at the theme parks, they created full masks where the performers were still able to open and close their mouths.
She's got a ride that whole thing is colonial style. You're gonna steal it from me, because you're gonna marry me, let's get some bits of rock.
Something about them is just really off. They look like those really weird Halloween masks, don't they? Now, it is a bit odd that a show based on a more mature film appeared in Fantasyland at Disneyland, but this appearance kind of makes sense for MGM Studios at the time. The park was brand new, and Universal Studios Florida wasn't even open yet. So including these non-traditional type Disney characters seemed to be a way to directly compete with the demographic that Universal Studios would be aiming towards. The show at MGM ran for 9 months, then closed in February of 1991. So these characters were never seen again, thankfully. But this wasn't the end of non-traditional Disney characters at the park. Number 4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The 90s were definitely the prime at Disney MGM Studios. If you grew up around this time, you'd probably remember that New York Street used to be home to a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show. Now you're probably wondering, why are the Ninja Turtles at a Disney theme park? Well, you aren't the only ones thinking that, because if you go back and watch any of the videos on YouTube, there's a lot of confused people in the comments. They made their debut at the park on July 1st, 1990, and earlier that year in March, the live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was released. It was a complete hit, and again, Disney was looking at ways to directly compete with Universal Studios, so Ninja Turtles seemed to fit this agenda. Multiple times per day, the Ninja Turtles would roll down the street in their van, head to the stage for a little live show, then would do a meet and greet shortly after.
Hey, Michelangelo, are you ordering pizza again? April, get him off the phone!
At this time, the Ninja Turtles were owned by Mirage Studios and were distributed by CBS. The only real connection Disney had to the Ninja Turtles was through Jim Henson. He actually created the articulated costumes for that 1990 live-action film. And this was around the same time when Disney was in negotiations to merge with the Jim Henson Company. But that deal didn't go through since Jim Henson passed away suddenly in May of 1990. So it appears that the Ninja Turtles at MGM Studios were just a theme park licensing deal that could have been acquired through the Jim Henson connection. Although it's weird seeing these characters in a Disney park, they remained extremely popular during the early 90s. But all good things must come to an end. Disney's contract for the Ninja Turtles ended on May 31st, 1995, when the Turtles drove their van right out of the park and disappeared forever. Number 3. Barbie. So if you think Frozen in Norway doesn't fit with World Showcase, wait till you hear about this. In 1993, Disney brought Barbie to Epcot to celebrate her 35th birthday. That's right, the doll Barbie. She became the ambassador of friendship at Epcot and, along with Ken and many of her other friends, appeared in a live 30-minute musical.
Barbie's world, you can travel anywhere. Welcome to the magical world of Barbie.
We are so glad that we could be with you here today at Epcot 94.
The magical world of Barbie opened on Thanksgiving Day in 1993 at the America Gardens Theater and World Showcase. Now, when Barbie wasn't doing shows, she and Ken would also cruise into World Showcase in their pink limo to do meet and greets. Just saying the words Barbie and World Showcase in the same sentence sounds really, really weird. I mean, if this was happening at MGM Studios, it would be kind of normal for the time, but the fact that Barbie was a main part of Epcot just makes the whole thing very strange. Now, you're probably wondering why exactly Disney would bring Barbie of all characters to Epcot. Well, it has to do with the Mattel Toy Company becoming a major corporate sponsor of the Disney theme parks. Mattel is the company behind Barbie, and because of this sponsorship, Disney was required to create an entire show based on the character. Also, beginning around 1993, Epcot began to see a decrease in attendance. So another reason why they may have chose Epcot was to try and boost attendance. Now, it is rumored that Disney wasn't too thrilled with Barbie actually being at Epcot. But this sponsorship from Mattel is how we got a roof over the America Gardens Theater. So, at least that's one good thing to come out of this. The magical world of Barbie lasted a year and a half, closing on May 11th, 1995. And along with her pink limo, Barbie disappeared back into her plastic world. Number 2. Roger Rabbit. So earlier in the video, we talked about Touchstone Pictures and how Disney uses this label for more mature themed films. Well, they also use it for films that they aren't necessarily confident in. Just in case the movie flops, it wouldn't be associated with the Disney brand. So back in 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was released through Touchstone Pictures, due to its more mature themes and the fact that they actually weren't confident with the film. To their surprise, it became the second highest grossing film of 1988, and Roger Rabbit became a staple character of the Disney theme parks. Although Who Framed Roger Rabbit was more mature than your average Disney film, the fact that he was an animated rabbit makes a bit more sense that he appeared next to Mickey Mouse, unlike the characters from that Dick Tracy movie. From 1988 into the early 90s, Roger Rabbit appeared literally everywhere. He had his own segments in multiple stage shows.
What a ravishing rabbit! What a beautiful bunny!
Led the musical float in Spectral Magic. Had his own 45-foot balloon float in the daytime parade at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And was constantly doing meet and greets. Roger Rabbit was pretty much the Elsa and Anna of the late 80s and early 90s. But the weird part about this character is how he just disappeared. When making Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Disney brought on Steven Spielberg to help with the film, and this gave him 50% of the rights to the characters. So everything Disney did with Roger Rabbit had to be approved by Spielberg. At first, things seemed to be okay, but once he didn't approve the script for the film's sequel, Michael Eisner's relationship with Steven Spielberg turned sour. By 1992, Eisner insisted all new projects that included Roger Rabbit needed to be stopped. The whole fact that Steven Spielberg was also heavily involved with Universal Studios probably didn't help the situation either. Now, Roger Rabbit was still a pretty popular character into the mid-90s, but as entertainment offerings created before 1992 started to close, and once Disney stopped creating the Roger Rabbit shorts, he pretty much vanished from the theme parks. So if you ever wondered why you never see him anymore, well, now you know. Number 1. The Power Rangers. Did you know that from 2005 until 2010, the Power Rangers were able to be found at Disney's Hollywood Studios? I know, it's kind of weird, right? Well, actually, it turns out it isn't that weird because there was a point in time where Disney actually owned the Power Rangers. Disney acquired the rights back in 2001 as part of the acquisition of Saban Entertainment. Back in the good old days when Hollywood Studios still had a parade, this is where the Power Rangers made their first appearance. Their float was added to the Disney Stars and Motorcars parade, which ran until March of 2008. Now, after the parade ended, the Power Rangers were still able to be seen near the now extinct Lights Motors Action Stunt Show. They'd come out on their parade car for a mini show and meet and greet in the streets of America. Although they were owned by Disney, they just seemed really out of place at the park. But to be fair, Disney was getting tired of the franchise by the late 2000s. After canceling the TV show in 2009, the Power Rangers at Hollywood Studios had their last appearance on August 7, 2010, when Disney sold the rights back to the original owners. The fact that Disney acquired the franchise then sold it off so quickly makes their appearance in the park seem even more bizarre. But at the end of the day, they were still Disney. So, did you ever get a chance to see any of these characters in person at the parks? And if you had to bring one set of characters back, which one would you choose? Leave a comment down below and start a conversation. If you have any videos from the Disney parks that you'd like to share with us to be used in future videos, follow the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Click the TPM icon on the screen to subscribe to this channel, and check out some of these other videos which we're sure you'll like.